What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday and welcome in to another edition of the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Preview Show. Again, it is Tuesday. We have a 10-game main slate over on DraftKings.com starting at 7:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am James Grande. As you can see on the screen, I am joined by Henry Wilson. You can follow Henry on the X Machine at Henry13Wilson13. You can follow me at the_real_Grande. Henry, what's going on, man? How was your Monday slate of baseball? And how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing better than my Monday slate did. We had some hits, but I think we had more misses. Joe Musgrove was great, which I did call out. Did I actually put him in any of my lineups? No, I didn't. So that's rough. Yankees struggled. So I don't know. It was some hits, some misses, but overall, hoping for a better Tuesday.
You know what, Henry? When you talk about baseball, and we talk about the best players of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're successful 3 out of 10 times.
Oh, yeah. That's why there's 162 games. And especially, we talk about it, even playing daily fantasy, we have 162 games. You got to understand that you're going to lose a lot of them throughout the season. That's just how it goes. But you got to trust that you're going to win more than you lose and not let the losses get to you, because they're going to happen to even the best.
Yep. The process is the process, and you got to stay true to that. You can always tweak it. You can always add things that you get from DFS players that you watch, that you listen to, that you read, which you'll be able to do here at Fantasy Alarm. Watch, listen, read. You can do it right here on the YouTube channel. You like and subscribe to the channel. We go live every single day. We do a pre-show every single day, Monday through Friday. And then we have the all of our DFS stuff behind the paywall over on fantasyalarm.com that you can get with the All Pro subscription, which let me pull up. You were here. You can get right now for less than $20 for the next month using promo code Let's Go. So if you do, want to become a member, want to get some of the thoughts of the process from Henry, myself, John, and Pemba, who is once again just a no-show to his own job, like it's crazy, but a good thing we have Henry here as like I don't know who's super, like Julio Franco. Is he like the all-time leader in like pinch hits or something? Right? At one point, Julio Franco was, I think.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds right. I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna say you're correct there. I'll go with Julio Franco.
Listen, Julio Franco, nothing wrong. Julio Franco played for 60 seasons. So he might have actually been 60 when he retired. So I meant that as a compliment.
I took it as a compliment. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. All right. So 10 games on the Tuesday slate. I'll pull it up right now. If you guys are new here, we are looking at the DraftKings main slate, which, 10, I haven't looked at FanDuel, but all the things we say mostly apply to that as well. Upon initial look, what are your thoughts? We don't have Coors. I see Colorado on the road here in Atlanta. What's your initial thoughts on the slate?
Yeah, obviously, big 10-game slate. I think we've got some really good pitchers out there, but definitely some good ones to attack. I think there are some pitchers that we normally like stacking against that are like against good offenses, which should be fun. But yeah, a lot of variety here. I think a lot of different ways we can go. So I don't know. It'll be interesting how it all pieces together.
Yeah, and we'll start at the pitcher's position as we go position by position normally. And I think there's a couple things that jump out to me right off the bat. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is Chris Sale. All 5 of those things are Chris Sale against the Rockies at home. Colorado has been what they've been. Chris Sale has been what he's been. This is as surefire a play that we are going to see probably remainder of season, right?
Yeah, I think so. And, look, it's 10,800. You have to pay for it, but there's a reason. Chris Sale's probably about to win his first Cy Young of his career. Like, he's been incredible.
Crazy to say, by the way. Crazy to say.
Really, it is amazing that he hasn't won one before with how good he has been. But deservedly so, that he's looking at his peak right now at, 35? Like, this is nuts. But he's been incredible. He gets the Rockies on the road, as good of a spot as you could hope for. So yeah, it's really expensive, but you're probably going to want to pay for it because it's Chris Sale.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, I forget what the odds were on the NL Cy Young. He would have to have
It's him. Like
the
he
most
has,
astronomically bad ending to a season of any pitcher of all time to lose
oh
the
yeah,
award.
it has to be
So,
complete blowups because if he doesn't throw another inning, he probably still wins it. It has to be like
agreed.
he goes out and gives up 10 runs every outing from here on out to lose this thing. Like it's his Cy Young in lock.
Yeah, I think didn't like Tim Anderson not play the last day of the year to win the batting title. That's what I think Chris Sale could do that and still win the Cy Young. So
Yeah.
10-8 for Chris Sale, surefire play, getting Colorado on the road. Um, Paul Skeens is basically being limited. I think that's like all but confirmed. We've now gotten 87 and 82 pitches the last two starts, only 5 innings, and then after he leaves that game, the Cubs go on a historic late inning surge that is, maybe the jumpstart of the Cubs' potential postseason berth. So I don't know if we can get to Skeens 9-8. We've talked ad nauseum about Luis Castillo's road struggles on this year. We kind of have talked about it with the Mariners pitching staff as a whole on the road. What is your take on the other two guys priced over $9,000? And if you don't care for either of them, why don't we just move on to the 8K tier?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna move past both of them just because the things you said. Castillo struggle on the road. Skeens is gonna get limited. I love Paul Skeens. He'll probably still pitch well, but I think why am I gonna pay 9,800 for him when he's gonna be limited? And I could pivot to a Justin Steele for $1,000 less dollars, who has also great upside, facing the Pittsburgh Pirates, who lead the league in the last month in strikeout rate against lefties. I would much rather go there and save the money.
Could not agree more. And if for whatever reason you could not get to Chris Sale, Justin Steele is your perfectly 1B
Yep.
top or like one pitcher sites. If Chris Sale is too expensive, Justin Steele is your next option. So I love that call. What about the rest of the tier? Carlos Rodon gets Texas in Texas. Rodon
Yeah, I think Rodon's my next one after Steele
been
also.
a mixed bag. Talk about it. I mean, the price is obviously different than what it's been.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're getting a discount on the price here with not that poor of results. Like he's still been pitching well, and the Rangers have been terrible, and especially terrible against lefties. So again, we're talking about this, Steele Rodon pairing here of two lefties facing teams that struggle against lefties, have huge strikeout upside. I think they're both really good options here. Like I said, if you need to pivot across from Sale, like these guys being under 9K have huge upside and are in such good matchups that I don't see them really having big blow up potential either. I really like both of them here today.
What about Bybee or Peterson? Obviously, Tanner Bybee is a talented pitcher. Last couple starts have not looked great, including a start against Kansas City where he gave up 3 home runs. We know how good Kansas City is, specifically against righties. And then David Peterson has been quite good for the Mets. I don't know, but what's your opinion on the other two pitchers in the AK tier?
Yeah, I think I would lean Peterson. Bybee is the better pitcher for sure, but the Royals are such a good offense. And they strike out so little that the upside they provide when facing them is really low. And so it's just such hard time facing them. And we saw Bybee face him in his last outing and struggled. So I think Peterson, just because this matchup here has a little more upside, we know that he can also bring strikeouts. And Red Sox offense is good, but they're so lefty heavy that a lefty coming in with some strikeout upside can easily come in and pile up some strikeouts pretty quick. So I think he's the more intriguing one here.
Shifting our attention down into the 7K tier and below, Brady Singer against Cleveland at home, Kyle Harrison at home against Arizona, Cutter Crawford on the road against the Mets, Chris Bassett at home against Philadelphia, Ryan Nelson in San Francisco, and Walker Buehler on the road against the Angels. That's your 7K tier. Anything really stick out to you?
there is one name that sticks out, and it's Ryan Nelson. I think he's just the better pitcher in this tier by a long shot. He's been pitching super well, and I think the matchup is decent too. Like the Giants don't scare me, and he's by far just the best pitcher in this tier who like actually has this strikeout upside, has been getting good results, and all those other guys just like have blow up written all over them. Like Singer, Harrison, Crawford, Bassett, all these guys can just get destroyed on any given day. And I trust Ryan Nelson a lot more. So he's definitely one of the cheap pitchers that I'll be turning to today.
Dude, he's been really good. And San Francisco this year, 24th in OPS, 24th in WOBA, and 22nd in WRC plus, 23% strikeout rate over the year against righties. So those are exploitable numbers. And like that's factoring in road stuff. Like they're at home. You already know that all those home numbers are so much worse and watered down just with the ballpark. So it's hard to hit in San Francisco. You got to love Ryan Nelson here. There, I fully agree. I would possibly. So I agree. I mainly agree. Brady Singer has been incredibly good at home this year.
Mm-hmm.
And Cleveland is also, although they are heating up, a large part due to Jimenez, a large part due to Naylor, Ramirez, the top part, and Big Christmas, like they obviously have Manzardo getting called up, double down the other day. Like obviously it's a good lineup, but Brady Singer's been really good at home. I've said this all year. He struggles against lefties, but he's been really good at home. He's a very good ground ball pitcher, specifically at home, which I don't understand why that's like where the discrepancy comes in. But he has been really good at home. There's ERA, batting average, fantasy points, strikeout, like everything. There's like a distinct difference basically across the board. That would be the only note that I'd add because I largely agree on every other front.
Yeah, he's the only one I could concede an argument for. If you had given an argument for the other ones, I would have pushed back. But Singer, I think you're right. Let's
talk like just punting the position. We have Tyler Phillips, who has obviously been since since that like 15 inning stretch, he has been pretty bad. Reed Detmers is being recalled here for the first time since June. A guy that I had a lot of hopes for, a very live strikeout arm. He has not pitched in the majors in 3 months. This is not a great return for him, but he's pitching here. Aaron Savale gets the Cardinals coming off, a really good start. 2 of his last 3 of his last 4. And I've been a Savale fan. I thought he was getting largely unlucky in Tampa. Steven Matz is making his return. First time he's pitched since April. That's very intriguing that he is being activated from the 60-day IL. Andrew Heaney is 6,000 against the Yankees. JT Ginn is 58. He gets the Seattle matchup. Kyle Freeland, 55. Anything under 7K that really catches your eye?
I think there's really, again, only one name in this tier too, and that is Aaron Savale. I've been a long-time Savale believer. I was really big on him coming into the season, and he started the season so good. And I took my victory lap real quick when he came in and like looked like real changes had happened. Man, he's pitching great. And then it fell apart quick.
Yeah.
It's been a rough go of it. But this is a guy that I believe in the talent. He's been, for the most part, pretty decent since making the move to Milwaukee. A couple rough starts still, but like some really good ones. And I think he just is the one that has this strikeout upside. When his stuff is working, he is a great pitcher and he can shut down teams. The problem is there's a lot of days the stuff's not working. And that's why it's 6,300, because there's risk. But I just think he has the upside that I trust a lot more than any of the other guys, that he actually has a real chance of going out and putting up, 20 plus points pretty easily.
I agree. A 6,300 for his talent is too cheap when he's pitching well.
Yeah.
St. Louis, we've seen, is a tough team to strike out. That's the only thing I'd add. They are a team that doesn't. I mean, Freddie Peralta's a 10 strikeout per 9 inning guy and had 3 and 5 and 5+ innings. So
and
again,
struggles with homers too. And
definitely struggles with home runs. Yeah, that is definitely a little bit concerned. But there's not like. Usually, I'd give like someone like Kyle Freeland $5,500. I'm typically like someone who does consider it. I mean, he is.
Here's the thing: he sucks on the road.
It is so bizarre why he is so much worse on the road. That is something that nobody can convince me makes any sense. Like
There's one Rocky pitcher every year, I swear, that like they're a good pitcher, and for some reason they're great in Colorado and they suck on the road. And that's why you can never like roster Rocky pitchers in season long, because you think, oh, I'll just play them on the road. And then they do something like Kyle Freeland, and it makes no sense. But here we are.
So no interest, 5,500.
No, I can't do it. Okay. There's just no shot. Like if you really want to try to, I know like Atlanta's not crazy scary and they can strike out. We've seen some really good outings from it. No, you can't convince me. I'm not doing it.
Let's go to catcher. A little bit interesting. Interest in some spend ups here. Not that you and I ever. I definitely spend up by catcher more than you, but and John for that matter. But I mean, William Contreras gets Steven Matz making his return. That Milwaukee lineup is absolutely terrifying right now with the way Chourio, Contreras, Turang, and Willy Adames are hitting. It's a terrifying lineup for Steven Matz to make his return against. Will Smith has really been good against lefties his entire career. Reed Detmers, another guy who was not pitching well in the major leagues prior to his demotion, is returning against the Dodgers. Like, that is a terrible setup that his franchise is putting up, but no surprises, the Angels. Shea Langoliers, I don't know if you just saw, hit his second home run of the night, including a walk-off home run for the Oakland Athletics. He has as much power in his bat as any catcher across baseball if you're stacking against Luis Castillo on the road. Cal Raleigh on the road, I think is always interesting with JT. I gotta say, like, I do actually think that this is an interesting enough 4K and up catcher tier, just simply based on like all these matchups that we have.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And yeah, I'm not someone that normally spends up at catcher, but yeah, I can't disagree against any of these guys because yeah, they are good bats. They have good matchups. And yeah, I think especially William Contreras there at the top you talked about. This is a guy that he's such a good hitter. This lineup's so good that like if he was first base and he was 5,200 with these numbers, you'd think, yeah, I could spend 5,200 for this guy.
Right.
For the fact that you could do it at catcher just because it's a position you don't normally spend at, like that's not too much for the quality of hitter that he is.
No, it is not. And I do think there's serious consideration on getting into a Milwaukee stack. Heading down into the depths of the catcher spot, who are some sub 4K targets we're going to be looking at here, Henry?
Yeah, I like Ivan Herrera. I talked up Savali, but just like Herrera has been a really good spend down option in this Cardinals lineup. He's been fantastic. So I could see turning to him. We jumped past him, but also Connor Wong at 4,000. He's slowed down a lot recently, but like dude still crushes lefties. So I'm always willing to put him in there when he's going against a lefty.
Yeah, he is good against lefties, and I like the Herrera call quite a bit as well. He's been amazing lately. El Gary they'll probably go double catcher against a lefty. El Gary's been good against lefties. Alejandro Kirk, that's a classic punt. That's a classic punt for us. Going further down, Grandal's been good, but I don't think we really want to play him.
Yeah, if it wasn't against Steele, I would say he's a good punt play. But again, I really am on Steele, and I don't know if he's gonna be able to do anything against him.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I would usually just punt a Cubs catcher. Like ultimately, that would just be like, yeah, punt whoever's starting for the Cubs because both are absolutely raking. But they do get Skeens. I will say, if he's only pitching 5-6 innings, Pittsburgh bullpen is horrible. So
yeah, their bullpen's awful. So if they only have to get 2 at-bats against Skeens, you have 2 at-bats still to maybe do some damage with paying that low a price for catcher. That's all you really need.
Well, we might need 4 at-bats. You never know. We might need 4 at-bats there. Let's go to first. We'll figure out the lineups tomorrow on the live stream. We'll be back again 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think tomorrow John's going to stop playing hooky from his job and make it back to work. At the top of first base, there's a $1,400 discrepancy between Shohei Ohtani and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And then Bryce Harper's 54. Freddie Freeman is heating up at 52. Pete Alonso, 51. Matt Olson, 5,000. What do you got for me over 5K, Henry?
I love Bryce Harper here.
Yep.
We always like these lefty bats against Bassett, and we love to stack bad lefty bats against Bassett. So Bryce Harper at a pretty good price going against him. He's the standout for me here at the top. That if I'm paying up, I'm immediately turning to Harper.
Agreed. And he's been good lately. Yeah. I mean, he's had a good season overall, but he's been good lately. He's been good lately, sans the home runs, which I think we're very live for that to be broken here. So I agree on your Bryce Harper call in the $4,000 range. I know I talked to Brady Singer, dude. Josh Naylor is on one of those heaters right now where he just drives in a ton of runs, and he's extra base hits every game. A lot of runs driven in. Again, 100 RBIs for Josh Naylor. Yes. He is one of the more underrated players in baseball. I would say of this next grouping, he's probably my standout here.
He's absolutely my standout. In the 4K tier, he is the name that jumps out, I think, by far for me. I don't even like Singer as much as you, so I'm pretty happy to go for Cleveland. And this is just too cheap for Josh Naylor. He should be a 5K hitter, I think.
He should be. He's been mostly like until early August, he was 5K and above every slate. So we're getting a little bit of a discount for a guy who's in the midst of a heater and is too cheap. Dropping below $4,000. Josh Bell is heating up. He is 3,900 against Kyle Harrison. Anthony Rizzo, another productive night for him. Back-to-back games for Rizzo now. Since returning from the IL, he is 3,800. He might be some cheap Yankee exposure against Andrew Heaney, lefty, but he fits the Yankee stack obviously because he's the only cheap player in a Yankee stack. What else? Is there anything else like sub 4K that you'd give consideration to?
Maybe Justin Turner. I think he's hit pretty well since joining the Mariners, and so in this matchup, I think I don't hate it. Obviously, you see that 2-homer game. Don't expect that from him, but I think he can still easily, get you 3,100 value even without 2 homers.
Yeah, he had. I want to say he had like 2 RBIs on the. Without looking, I think he had another like 2 RBI game on the Monday slate. No, just 1, but still.
Production.
Yeah, production. Right, 3 straight games with at least 1 RBI. So I don't hate the Justin Turner call. I don't hate Seth Brown hitting in the middle of the Oakland lineup. He's been really, really good of late. Yeah. He's really, really cheap. And again, Luis Castillo on the road and Luis Castillo power. Not that this is necessarily the best park for power, but Oakland has a lot of powerful dudes in their lineup. So
yeah, they haven't struggled having power in Oakland all season.
No. Looking forward to them moving to the AAA park, and
it could be insane. They could hit a lot of home runs.
I mean, the owner's not excited. He's excited to see Aaron Judge, but he is also going to move his team regardless. Like he's excited. I want to update those listening. Garrett Cole has left Monday's game during his warm-up pitches in the 7th inning. So that is not a good sign for those that root for the Yankees or have Garrett Cole in fantasy or DFS or just.
I mean, I hate the Yankees, but I never want to see a guy like Garrett Cole go down to injury. So
yeah, hopefully word is positive after. I thought actually when watching, he was throwing his fastball in the low 90s. He was pointing to the leg area according to X. So hopefully that doesn't
leg injury, not arm injury.
Yes, hopefully any like cramps, right, or like something that's not allowing him to pitch. That's not his arm because arm was a disaster. let's go to second base and not think about Garrett Cole's and potentially end of the season. And my life, just I'm melting on the screen. Anything interesting to you, 4K and up, on this at this position? I'm just going to group second because I think it's another position that just stinks up top.
Totally. It's possible that Ketel Marte is back in the lineup on Tuesday. There's talk of him returning. So I think if he is, obviously facing the lefty and Kyle Harrison, I think he is intriguing. Even first game back, this price, like Ketel Marte has been amazing.
Yep.
So I think if he is indeed in the lineup, like they said he might be, I could see paying up for him. If he's not, I'm just going all the way down. And the only other one I'm paying for in this tier is going back to Gleyber Torres at 4K.
Yep.
Like that's it. That's the only ones I like at this tier.
No objections. That's also how I feel. So let's go to the value tier. This is where we'll get our exposures. This is interesting. I think Bryson Stott is playing as well as he's played all year long. If you want some cheap Phillies exposure, he'll hit kind of in the middle of their lineup. He's stealing a lot of bases. You have Bryson Stott, 38. Whit Merrifield's obviously was really good when he first got to Atlanta. He slowed down a little bit, but he's shown signs of life in Atlanta. Jimenez has been good since moving to the 2-hole. We have Brendan Donovan, Gavin Lux, Zach Geloff. I mean,
Jorge Polanco.
Yeah, Jorge Polanco, Jeff McNeil, Will Wagner, $3,000. Will Wagner just like randomly hitting home runs now and having 5-hit games. Where do you want to start in the value tier?
I mean, yeah, I like all of those names you said. I think again, my main targets are, like I said, Bryson Stott, just the lefty against Bassett, and in this Phillies lineup for cheap. I do like. If it's not him, it's probably Brendan Donovan. Again, I talked up Savali, but if you're not hoping for the upside, the homer problem is real. So I don't mind taking someone like Brendan Donovan in this Cardinals lineup. After that, I like Polanco a lot too. Again, in this matchup, up and down, but I do think the Mariners could be kind of a sneaky stack on this slate. And I also really like Jeff McNeil. Cutter Crawford homer problem still persists. It slowed down a little bit, but man, he's given up a lot of home runs. And obviously McNeil's not a homer threat, but just like that threat being in the Mets lineup at 3,300, he could really easily give you some value.
Yeah, and JD is out, so there's always there's a chance McNeil moves up in the lineup in this spot. They've like basically hitting Starling Marte like 8th now too. So yeah. I will give Will Wagner his flowers. I mean, he's continued to be really good. And for a guy who I didn't think had like much of a ceiling, he has obviously proved me wrong in 2 of the last 5, where he's gone for 24 and 34. 3 hits and a home run, 5 hits and a home run. I mean, that game was absolutely ridiculous, but
it's unlikely he's going to do that much, but still for 3K going against Phillips.
Yeah, he's been bad. Phillips has been bad. So I do think that's firmly in play. Let's go to third, where Jose Ramirez resides. I was talking to John, I think, about this last night. Jose Ramirez might go 40-40, and nobody's going to care because Shohei's going to go 50-50.
Yeah. Jose Ramirez, I think, has been one of the most underrated players through his career. Even I thought it was when he was teammates with Lindor, it was like, okay, Lindor is outshining him. Lindor leaves. Jose Ramirez is the true star of his team, and feel like he still is just underrated and not thought of, even though he's perennial MVP candidate, just one of the best hitters in baseball every year.
Every year. And like people hated the Ramirez over Lindor thing, and I think that's not that has like Lindor's having a pretty good year.
That's no anti-Lindor. Lindor's incredible.
Yeah.
He's not as good as Jose Ramirez.
He's not. Devers here at third, Jazz Chisholm 53. Tough lefty spots. The rest of this like top tier. Muncy, same thing, lefty. Not that you can't play any of those guys. I think it's all fine. Jazz has actually been really good against lefties. Devers in his career had been good against lefties. That's not the case this year. Chapman, McMahon, lefty, no thanks. Vientos got a day off. on Monday, so 4,500. Eugenio gets a lefty. He's been super productive lately. What do we want to talk about here at third? Like, what's your main priority plays 4K and up?
Yeah, if I'm not going Jose Ramirez, which again I'm happy to pay that price for him against Singer, I kind of probably am passing all of these lefty matchups. And again, I like Ryan Nelson. I'm probably going all the way down to either Mark Vientos or Eugenio Suarez against the lefty. I think again Vientos has good power, so going against Cutter Crawford, very much homer in play. And then Eugenio Suarez, as always, has that home run potential against a lefty, even in San Francisco, which is tougher park. He's got power that if he gets a hold of one, it's going out anywhere. So I think they're both pretty good options.
Dude, I cannot believe that his numbers look like this when in the middle of the year they were like, we're gonna start playing Blaze Alexander at third and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he has 86. He's gonna have 100 RBIs this year.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's crazy.
It's just crazy. But he has been such a good run producer. So if he's in, I mean, sure, he is firmly in play here.
Totally.
Going below $4,000, we'll have Connor Falefa probably lead off, but that's a tough spot. Josh Young, I mean, he's been a little bit better of late.
Yeah, good against lefties, but
yeah, like the Rodon spot is not like, this isn't like early season Carlos Rodon where he was looking like a Cy Young candidate again.
No, but he's still been pitching well, and the Rangers' offense has been terrible.
I know. I know.
Even if Josh Young does okay, it's how many opportunities does he have, and is there anybody on base for him? And
You're right. You're right. Josh Young tournaments on large field tournaments only. Yes. Paul DeJong continues to homer against righties. I mean, he even homered. He tied the game off Josh Hader the other day. I mean, you want to play DeJong 35. What about anything else like down here in the dumps 35 or at third base?
I think the only other one I'd call out is Joey Ortiz. Obviously, we talked Brewers lineup's just really good. He should be in there going against Steven Matz. So obviously not a whole lot of production recently, but he's not in the lineup very often. But he's only in there facing a lefty, which he should be hopefully here. And so just because it's a good lineup, I think he's an intriguing punt play here.
Yeah, his injury derailed his season because he was
looking really good for a while there.
They had him leading off against lefties. So, just goes to show you sometimes injuries suck. I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah, that's really it for me.
Addison Barger here, 3,200. I would play Addison Barger.
Yep. Good call.
Especially if they're hitting him fifth. That Blue Jays lineup has been a little like spunky lately. They've been a little pesky. So
they're still not good, but they provide good value just because many of these guys are so cheap that you're getting guys that are hitting in the top 5 for such low prices, and they're still scoring some runs. So it makes it intriguing for this DFS stuff.
That is exactly correct. Shortstop. Now, we were talking about it yesterday. Not exactly the most loaded shortstop. Well, that lasted all of one day because Bobby Witt, Trey Turner, Francisco Lindor, Corey Seager, Ezequiel Tovar, O'Neal Cruz, all over 5K. What do we got over 5K?
My favorites are obviously Bobby Witt Jr. is one of the greatest hitters on the planet. So I'm obviously going to him if I can pay for it. And after him, my favorite's Lindor. I think those are my top 2 in this high tier. I think the Mets against Crawford's pretty good as much as I want Cutter Crawford to be better. Look, the results have been better recently. He has been pitching better, but it still has been not very much strikeouts. It's a better that I don't believe is sustainable. So Lindor with the power that he brings against him, I think those 2 are easily my top up here.
Love it. Under 5K, I'm just going right to him. Willie Adames is homering every single day.
But it's against right-handers still. Dude can't hit lefties.
He cannot.
I get that it's a homers every single day, but I'm pretty sure maybe one of them was against a lefty. I don't know if anywhere, though. He has almost no homers or any hitting against left-handers. So just the fact that he's facing the lefty to start, even though it is Matt's, I have a hard time trusting Willie Adames even on this hot stretch when it's not against a right-handed pitcher.
I don't. I'm looking at so this year before the Matt's injury. Okay, he only threw 400 pitches against righties. Okay, he had 167 ISO, which was whatever. 392 WOBA allowed to right-handed bats. I mean, like last year against righties. Let's look last year against righties. The numbers were actually pretty good for Steven Matz. 154 ISO, 326 WOBA.
Okay, but
man,
Willie Adames' 28 homers are against lefties. He is batting 192, and he has a lower slugging percentage than OBP against lefties. Like he doesn't. It's not even like a low average, but he still has power. He doesn't hit lefties. Period.
Are they all at home? Are all three of them at home? Because he's doing all of his damage at home, and that's been his thing. John and I have talked about it. When he left Tampa, he talked about being able to see.
Yeah,
like literally from just like the words that came out of his mouth were like, I can actually see the baseball, not in Tampa Bay, because he has 17 of 29 at home. His slugging is 100 points higher at home than it is on the road.
Sure. Yeah, 2 of his 3 homers against lefties are at home, but home versus lefties, he's still batting 175. I can't do it.
Yeah, he's homered in 5 straight games and 7 of his last 9.
A 79 WRC plus against lefties at home. Like even at home, I don't think you can play him against a lefty.
I know what you're saying. I do. I really do. And maybe it's just because this is who the roster of Willie Fantasy League is chasing me down right now, and I can't do anything about his faction of home runs, right? Because like right now I'm just watching him just stockpile home runs. I'm like, well, I'm not having any of the fun. So I don't 47 for Adames on this whatever's happening run for him. But then we do have the rest of the 4K tier. Nato, Volpe, Wynn, Crawford. That's fine, right? It's like they're all tournament plays.
Yeah, I think they're all pretty decent plays. Obviously, I've been a big Mason Wynn fan, and so obviously, and yeah, Volpe against the lefty here. I think those are all pretty good options. But here's the thing: we also get one of our favorites of Geraldo Perdomo facing a lefty today.
Yeah, and if Marte's not back, we'll probably see Perdomo lead off. Yep. So that is a very good call. He has been super good lately. It's been an extended period of time. He's been good. And obviously the power has come later in the season too, where all 3 of these home runs have happened recently. So yeah, I think Geraldo Perdomo is a great value at 32. Other than that, I mean, I play Tommy Edman a lot when there's a lefty pitching.
Yeah.
Only when there's lefty pitching. He has a career 800 plus OPS against lefties. Hits right in the middle of their lineup. So 3,400 for Edman. Rojas will hit right behind him, 33.
Yeah. Arcia against Freeland, potentially.
Yeah, my only thing with Arcia, he's another Willie Adames slate. And I don't mean that as a Milwaukee shortstop. I mean that as he only hits righties this year. That has been
that's the
last year.
It's not his career has not been that way. He's been
totally
a lefty
lefties.
Fielder, so yeah. I don't know. It's weird.
I feel like, and this is something that I've come to realize this year. Like sometimes when we're like talking historical data versus like the data of the season, I mean, there's things that change with batters and pitchers and everything every single year that make them better. One split 1 year to the next, they're like they can't hit this side of the, this handedness, and they're great again. So like, yeah, Arcia was, in his best year of his career last year, mostly mashing lefties. Yeah. This year, it's just the complete opposite, where he's hitting right-handed.
14 of those 15 homers righties.
It's been all right-handed. It's been all right-handed variety. So,
Yep.
I'm interested in the Braves, and RC is obviously a way to get cheap, like
Mhm.
a cheap exposure to that. Because like if you want to play Ozuna, and if you want to
Yeah.
play, you know, Olsen or whoever is expensive, like RC is obviously a way to do it. But it's just, I'm not saying he can't run into one. He just obviously has mostly only done it against righties.
No, and I'd rather have Perdomo for $200 more still.
And I'd rather have Perdomo as well. So let's finish it up at the outfield, and we'll get a lineup built for all those that are new here. We do build an example lineup, just to look at. Again, this is our first look podcast, our first look preview show. We are just building a lineup that may matter, may not. Right? We may have people in the lineup, may not, but we're doing it just kind of like after our process. So let's head to the outfield. Ohtani at the top, more expensive than Aaron Judge, who has been 7K every day. Now he's not. He is struggling a little bit. A lot of strikeouts lately for Judge. Soto 65, Bet 63. He gets the lefty. Mookie's obviously been incredible since returning from the IL. Jaron Duran 61 versus a lefty. I know he's been good, but what, like, just talk to me about like this top tier, and if you even want to talk about some 5K guys, you can as well.
Yeah, I am probably going to talk about the 5K guys because I think I'm forgoing all of these 6K and above guys just to go lower because again, yeah, you can go to Ohtani, Judge, they're great, but like these prices, they have to deliver a lot. And Duran against the lefty, Betts hasn't been like crazy good. So at these high prices, I'd rather just go all the way down and save a bunch of money to get Kyle Schwarber at 5,600 against Bassett or Marcelo Zuna. Like these guys provide so much power, also great hitters, and you get them for way cheaper compared to that over 6K tier that I'm gonna jump down there.
Yep, fully agree. Not that I like, again, just one of those things. If you're playing Ohtani or Judge, you're really hindering your ability to play like Chris Sale, Justin Steele, and potentially lock in like 60 fantasy points to your lineup right there.
Yes.
So that's the one downside to playing 7K players with a 50K salary cap. So I largely agree. I think Schwarber is in a great spot. If you want to play Rooker, he's obviously in. You could play Corbin Carroll against. Gosh dang! If Corbin Carroll knew the ball was being thrown 200 miles per hour, he'd hit it at this point. Corbin Carroll's been amazing. I know lefty, but
finally things around.
yeah, he has been incredible. So Corbin Carroll 53, Tyler O'Neill. Yeah, he has done all of his damage against lefties this year. I will never not think it's funny that he has 25 home runs and 50 RBIs. He only has 2x the RBIs as home runs.
In a good offense.
In a good offense.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been funny because it was way worse. But he's driven in runs without home runs recently, but it was way worse. I was making fun of it when it was like 20 and 39, I think, at one point, which is
that's crazy because like he's not batting leadoff or anything. Like he's batting third or like middle of the order in the
middle of the lineup
every day, and somehow 50 RBIs with 25 homers. It's super weird.
Giancarlo did in fact homer again on the Monday slate. And that is just one of those things where I've said it for as long as he's been in Major League Baseball. I mean, he is just a streaky player, and when he is hot, you said it, I think, on the live, like he would be considered a lot of teams' second best player and like full strength. Like if he's playing 130, 140 games, I mean, he's played 94 games. He has, or 95 games now. He's gonna have 25 home runs. Like he has 800 OPS, 500 slug. Like
he's still a great hitter. Like sure, we're done dreaming on the like 40 plus homer seasons from him in Yankee Stadium, but he can still hit the crap out of the ball.
Yep, he's gonna hit 30 home runs in 110 games this year, and you're gonna be like, oh, that was second straight pretty good year for Giancarlo Stanton. So yeah, Stanton, I don't think the price is too expensive. 5K against Andrew Heaney. I dropping below 5K. I love playing Teoscar Hernandez when there's a lefty on the mound.
Yep.
Then we have the names like Brandon Nimmo. I don't think you can go to the Cubs guys unless you're banking on a short Skeens outing.
No, I think there's just better options.
Better options, agreed.
Jackson
And
Chourio,
that's where that's the better option, right? That's the better option.
Exactly. Like he's cheaper than those Cubs guys and crushing the ball and facing a worse pitcher.
Dude, he's just like he is the most polished teenager we've seen in a while in terms of since Soto, probably since Soto approach. I mean, he walks, he hits for power, he hits for singles. He has 20 steals on the year. He really does it all and has been especially good lately. Obviously, the grand slam on the Monday slate, but just looking up and down his logs, like he has seemingly gotten better as the season has gone on. So I mean, it's going to be hard not to want to get to Chourio at 45.
No, he's one of my favorites today for sure. I just think in the matchup, what he's doing, the price is too low.
The rest of the outfield position, I wish there was more Angels we could play.
I mean, Taylor Ward has been fantastic recently. So I think he is someone who, has had a fairly disappointing season, but it hasn't been terrible still. Like he's still been solid for being on a really, really bad team. So I still think that he is really good value here.
Yeah, we'll actually talk about a couple more Angels outfielders. That there's Angels in the outfield tonight, Henry.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
nice bars. So I was actually just wondering what we were gonna get for a Lawrence Butler price tag. We're back up to 4,200. You and I had talked on the Monday slate about the Lawrence Butler price tag. He didn't really pay it off, double and a run scored. But like, it's just another situation where, again, you're getting a guy who's susceptible to a home run on the road where he struggles. And 4,200 for Lawrence Butler is probably still $600 to $800 too cheap when we're getting this form of Lawrence Butler. So I think Lawrence Butler makes a lot of sense. 4,200. Weiler probably not going to be in the lineup. You can always play Big Christmas. McCutchen, he's fine if you're stacking against a popular steal. Blade 4K. I mean, he's probably in the same bucket as Lawrence Butler, right? Like if you're interested in Oakland, you probably should be interested in their outfield.
Yeah, it's been weird because these two just keep like jumping each other. They can't decide which one is more expensive between JJ Blade and Lawrence Butler. I think they have it right now. I think Lawrence Butler should be the more expensive one, but now that get Blade as the cheaper one down to 4K, I am absolutely interested in him as well.
Agreed. You said it the other day on the Friday stream where Oakland's best players are their three outfielders that you're like, if you're just Am I back here? Am I back?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. I just saw I lost connection here. Sorry. We can see my screen still, right?
Yep. You're all good. I just lost there. Talking about Oakland outfield. Anyway, they're great. They're cheap. Yeah, those outfielders are batting first, second, third, and you can get all of them. So you have a first, second, third in the order stack for like 4,500 an outfielder, basically.
What do you think of this run? I mean, Nick Castellanos has been pretty good lately. If you want to play a 4K Castellanos,
usually it's the lefties, and Cassie is better against righties. So like the matchup's a little tough. But I mean, I like the Phillies, and he still like provides good power, so I can see it.
What else do we have? Let's drop below 4K. Wyatt Langford, he homered on Monday. Michael Harris gets a lefty. He's been fine for the Braves since returning. Anything stand out to you sub $4,000?
Yeah, Victor Robles continues to provide some value for the Mariners, surprisingly.
He does.
I really like what Jesse Winker has been doing for the Mets. He just continues to crush, hitting in the middle of their lineup, going against Cutter Crawford here. He's been a great value kind of day in, day out right now.
Yep. Yeah, I'm I was wondering. I mean, I always thought like, man, Jesse Winker, latest beneficiary of Great American, but he has been really good this year, and that started obviously in Washington. Joe Adele hit a couple home runs the other day. He has been better this year. Joe Adele going to mess around and be 2020 after everyone wrote him off. I think that's a little bit interesting against Walker Buehler. And then what else we got? Newt Bar, Brandon Marsh is down here, 3,500. Brandon Marsh is an
Yeah,
interesting.
again, against Bassett, cheap in a good lineup.
Melendez, 3,400. We'll see if the Sorry, Henry, go ahead.
I was say, I was saying Paez. I think Paez, if he's in the lineup, definitely intriguing.
Yeah, he was good in the minors, and he's been good against lefties in the majors. So I'd expect him to be in the lineup here. Is there anything else? Jordan Walker had the 5-hit game followed by the Ofer, which has really been Jordan Walker in a nutshell, I think. This year. Last year he was great. This year, not. I don't know how else to, I mean, just not, right?
Ramon Laureano, likely
Great
in the
call.
lineup against the lefty.
Great call. Dude, he's been great. He's
Yeah,
been great for Atlanta.
He has been. No, he definitely. He's helped them a lot, and they've needed the outfield help. And he's consistently hitting the ball well.
I wanted to talk about where is Mickey Moniak has been really good for the Angels. That's the other Angel outfielder I want to talk about. He had a bunch of multi-hit games before his offer against Seattle. Dude, Walker Buehler has not figured it out. No matter what they do, he has not figured it out. He's been really bad against lefty power.
Yep.
I was just looking at it. I want to pull it up again because it's been bad for Buehler against lefties this year. 241 ISO allowed, 414 WOBA, 90 mile an hour exit velocity. I mean, it's bad. 8% swinging strike rate to lefties. It's been a terrible year for Buehler. So Mickey Moniak for me, 2,900, just one-offing the Angels or just taking a shot in large field tournament stuff. I'm interested.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to go with some Angel against him. I still believe in Buehler long term. Like, I think he'll figure things out. But this guy hadn't pitched in 2 years, and so now all of a sudden, coming 2 years removed, trying to just jump in the middle of the season, they're just kind of letting him figure things out. But it's going to take him some time to figure things out, obviously. So while he's figuring them out and struggling, take advantage and stack some of these cheaper guys who can get some value here.
Anything else that we need to talk about? Loper Fido, Nathan Lukes has been like in the Blue Jays lineup, hitting atop of the lineup. I think he led off this game after their 15 runs output. Is there anything else in outfield that interests you?
Nope. I think that's about it.
Okay, let's go to pitcher. I'm assuming we're gonna plug Sale. And I know that we liked Steele Rodon. Are we comfortable going Sale Steele? Do we want to not play Sale and play like Steele Rodon? Like what? I personally want to play Chris Sale, and I think I want to try to make it work here.
I think I agree with you. Like, I could see if you don't want to pay up and want to try to do the Steele Rodon thing, but I agree that like if you can make Chris Sale and Justin Steele pairing work here, I think that's your best pitching duo.
I mean, that has clearly, when you look at like duos on the slate, that has 60 fantasy points potential. Like,
yeah, and that's just Chris Sale.
and that's just Chris. Yeah, that's just the CGSO from Chris Sale, and then pile on with Justin. That was a good one. That was a good one. All right. So where are we spending down? Let's prioritize our spend down. Second base is obviously a position that we have enjoyed spending down. Do we like how do we want to approach it? Do we want to go Wagner at 3K? Do we want to go the Jimenez Stott? Bryson Stott 38, but that doesn't actually save us money. It just keeps us keeps us. I guess Geraldo Perdomo would be a route that we can save money if we wanted to spend down at short.
Yeah, I would say definitely Perdomo because he's the clear, like, way cheaper option than the other shortstop options. Yeah, second base, I think I would like to get some Phillies in there probably, but I do think like the Will Wagner, again, I don't trust Tyler Phillips, so getting a couple, we know we need cheap guys, so getting a couple of the cheap Toronto bats probably makes sense.
Marsh in the outfield,
Ooh,
35.
Yeah. Sure.
Lefty against Bassett. That's a very cheap option. We can also obviously spend down at catcher. Herrera 35, Kirk 33.
Yeah, I'd probably just go to Kirk. I mean, there might be better, cheaper options, but not really knowing who's starting. I would Kirk's for sure starting, so I kind of just lean him at first.
Right. First base. I mean, there's obviously if we wanted to go to Naylor, but we want Harper here. Let's go Bryce 54.
Yeah,
I actually think we could probably go Bryson Stott to give
yeah,
us like a
probably.
3. This looks pretty good, like getting the Harper Stott Marsh still with $3,700.
Yeah,
third base.
Go Joey Ortiz.
True, Joey Ortiz. Ooh, and then
and Chorio.
Yep, that was
Yeah.
That was where I was going. 3,400. There's like I mean there's Tommy Edman who I like.
Nootbaar.
There's Nootbaar, Pages, Moniak, Laureano against Kyle Freeland on the road. There's some like solid. Who would be your favorite option of this low 3 tier range?
Yeah, I'll probably lean Edman. I think he's for sure going to be in the lineup. He's good against lefties, and it's the Dodgers, so I like that. But again, I think those are all. If you don't like Edman, are all pretty good options there.
All right. We used up all $50,000 for the audio audience there. Chris Sale, Justin Steele, Alejandro Kirk, Bryce Harper, Bryson Stott, Joey Ortiz, Geraldo Perdomo, Brandon Marsh, Jackson Chorio, and Tommy Edman rounds out the lineup. Again, guys, please like and subscribe to the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel. It helps go a long way. Leave a comment if you want. I loved all the comments, seeing everyone wish John a happy birthday on Monday and sending in how crazy he was that he doesn't use condiments, because that is absolutely insane. I mean, I'm not like a huge condiment guy, but like also I do appreciate some condiments. Like, I'm not a crazy person like John, but so make sure you leave your comments, thoughts on our lineup, thoughts on the slate, thoughts on how me and Henry match today, despite one of us being a Yankees fan, one of us being a Boston fan. We planned our shirts ahead of time, and make sure you subscribe or get a subscription on FantasyAlarm.com right now for the All Pro package. FantasyAlarm.com/win, less than $20 using code Let's Go, and you can also just skip all that and just use the QR code right there on the screen by using your phone. So we appreciate all the support. Again, we'll be back at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you follow Henry over on the X Machine at Henry13Wilson13. You can follow me on the X Machine at _real_Grande. You see both of our handles right there. Mine's right there. Henry's is in Henry's box. But for James, for Henry, we appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you guys later.